Let's start with the new stack. Now, this is Microsoft's vision. You may or may not agree, but this is how they think about it. So at the top, Copilots. They're the user interface, the out-of-the-box usable technologies that an end user can start typing in right away. A very loose analogy, which we'll come back to, is that Copilots are kind of like Excel. You can launch it and start typing right away. Now, models are the engines that enable copilots, but just like Windows and .NET enable Excel and other applications, so too do models provide the underpinnings for your custom AI native applications. We all know what these are, GPT this and that, Llama, DeepSeek, and so on. Models are also the basis for AI agents, that is, AI-powered software that can do things on your behalf, maybe even autonomously. Data, of course, is the fuel for models. Models consume data. They eat data omnivorously. And Microsoft's goal here is to provide data management tools and services that can best serve up data to AI, but as we'll see, they face some pretty stiff competition here. And finally, custom hardware is increasingly essential for AI. Obviously, the market leader here is NVIDIA, but we all know they're very expensive and in short supply. Is it possible for Microsoft to use other vendors or to build their own hardware? The answer is yes, but arguably they are behind, maybe even way behind their competition. So that's the application stack. But let's not forget that Microsoft is at heart a developer's company, so for each layer of the stack, there's a complementary tool or set of tools targeting specific personas. The so-called citizen developer, the professional developer, and the data scientist. All this means that there's an entirely new way of thinking about what exactly is an application and how it's constructed. Now, in the early 2000s, we enthusiastically talked about the so-called three-tier model for apps, consisting of UI, that's HTML and JavaScript and CSS, and business logic, C# or Java, and a relational transactional database like SQL Server or Oracle, and some of us actually built such things, but they were kind of hard to build because they required 3 teams with 3 separate skill sets. Now, in his public speeches, Satya appears to be asserting that new applications will have a steadily decreasing amount of procedural code and that more and more of the application will be based on AI agents, that is, AI-based modules that can take actions like sending an email or updating a customer record on your behalf. And you interact with such applications, how? Via conversational interface, that is a chat or a copilot. Now, the amount of procedural logic and relational data decreases, one might say asymptotically, but never goes to zero because organizations will always need deterministic data, and don't forget, at their core, LLMs are probabilistic. We'll talk more about that later. Bottom line is, you don't want to bet your regulatory filing on an LLM. But the agents that run your business can use far more than relational data. They can tap into everything, tweets and social media and emails and audio and video and so on, giving far more context to the application and its agents than ever before possible, and thus vastly improving decision making. You buy that? You don't have to, but at the end of the day, that is ultimately what I believe Microsoft and Satya are evangelizing. Now, before you decide for yourself, you need to understand and evaluate how Microsoft is both thinking and investing to make all of this happen. And that's what we'll talk about in the next section.